Hi everyone, so this is Muhammed Aziz again today with a new session, and today's session is going to be very interesting because it's all about APIs. Today we are going to use Python Fast API framework, which is very famous and very demanding these days, which makes your life very easy in order to create a very robust asynchronous APIs for you. Why we need API? I will not go more into these things because we have a lot of different kind of code bases these days. The application or software we are going to develop is not only being used on the desktop, maybe it's going to use for the web, and you also need a web mobile application for that. And there will be different applications for different operating systems or the mobile phones. So instead of maintaining all those different code bases, what we need to do, we need to create an API. API consists of modules which contains data, and also the controllers which have the control logic of your application and the routes. So for that purpose we need APIs. So today we are going to see how the fast API framework is working, how we can install that framework into our system, and how we can use it. And to make this more easy, we will go with a sample project, and I will just perform all the CRUD operations in our system we have. So let's start with those one. First of all, as you can see on my screen, I have Google open in front of me. I just need to go to the fast API. I just go to the fastapi.triangle.com. So this is the fast API main documentation or main page that we can see, and from here you can have all those stuff. You can have all the information that we need in order to actually start and kicking off with the fast API, but we don't need to read all those things. I will make it more easier for you. Let's create first a Python project. So I have this folder. I will create another folder here, fast API. I will name it. And if I go inside this fast API, I will just open the command prompt, and I will open an editor called Visual Studio, which is my favorite one and maybe the most favorite among all different developers. So now you can see that we have opened the fast API project. To start with, what I will do first, I will install the fast API in my machine for this particular project. To have actually use the fast API, we can use the Python manager to install it. How to install? So on the documentation, if you go to the installation part, we have a beautiful command here which I will use. Here I will just paste and install the fast API. All right, the fast API has been installed successfully. And the second thing, we need a dependency. This is called UVCon. We need this actually to run our server. Like for other frameworks like Flask and Django, we have different servers that actually run. But here we will run this UVCon that will be actually running our server on this machine. So I copy and paste it here, and I will install this one as well. Are installed successfully. And now, do we need anything else? No, we don't need. So just go back to your project, and here just create a new file. I go here and create new file. I can name it like main.py, which will be file, and I will save it under the same folder. Create file. All right, so main.py has been created successfully. Now just go back to the documentation, and from here I will just copy this code all the way to this. No, I will not go with this one, and paste it here. Okay, the first thing what we have done here, we don't need this thing now. We are just importing a fast API from fast API which we have just installed, and we are creating a new instance from fast API class which is app, and then we are basically defining a route. So this is our first route, which is slash, which is kind of an absolute route for us. For this route, whenever site is going to hit this route, what is happening? It is basically performing a returning back to this to us basically when we are calling this method. To make it more better, I will just make it message and hello world, and I will just say main route or main entrance for our API. This is done, and the next thing is let's run this one. So to run this thing, we have a beautiful command here, uvcon main app reload. So instead of running this in a separate command prompt, I will open this Visual Studio command, which is a new terminal, and I will run that command here, paste and running. So as you can see, the uvcon is running on 127.0.0.8000. For Django and Flask, those ports are almost same, but you can also change this one. So now what I will do, I will hold my control key and click on this one. So you see our server is running. I'm getting this message, hello world. To make it more better, I can open the Postman and let's run the Postman with this API which we have just created. All right, the Postman is there. I will go with the lightweight for now. Don't need to log in this one. So this is a free client to actually play with the APIs. And what I will do, I will just copy this endpoint and paste it here. Now you see this is get. I will run get. So you see we are getting the message hello world. So in a couple of minutes, as you can see, I'll be able to run my first API endpoint, and we are receiving this message, which is the main message for the main entry point for our API. So let's perform the CRUD operations. What are CRUD? The create, read, update, and delete. For this one, let's suppose we have a model name users. This is the model which you will find in any kind of software, any kind of application. So let's create those things. Go back to my project. Now what I'm gonna do here, I will just copy paste these things. So first create user, second is read user, fourth is update user, and the last one will be delete user. And the first thing I will do with the read user, for this one I will create a route which will be slash users. What it will do, it will bring all the users to me, and here I will make a users list which is for now is empty, and return what I will do, I will just change the name of these ones. I will say define users, and it is returning the users to me. Currently, as you can see, the users are empty. So the one endpoint to get the users is completed. Finished. I will go back to my Postman and get all users. Send. As you can see, we are receiving all the users back. As you can see, those are empty. So to make those users populated, let's work on this create user thing. I will again copy this whole our main method and add it here, and just I will change these users, the function name actually, create user. So in creating user, we have to create a user basically which will store the user information into this endpoint. By doing this, what is the best way of doing it? We can actually create a model here, and the model is basically I will create a new file, not here, outside this one. Let's go from here. I will say model.py. I will say model. I can even see the models.py. All right, so from here we have already created the model.py. So first of all, we are going to add our, let me copy from here directly to save some time. From FastAPI, and then from then tick import base model. Yeah, and this is going to be pattern could not be resolved. Let's have a quick fix from this one. Fix, That's fine, it's not using. So let's define a class here, user, and it is basically instantiating from a base. So first of all, just from here, from, I will say model import user. And while creating a user, I will pass an attribute which is basically a type of user. So I will say user. All right. So this is something we have received. Now this user also contains all the information which we need from the class user. Now we have this user. I will say users dot append and user, and I will just return a message here that user has been created. A user has been created. Same message, whatever. Okay, so now we have the create user thing here. So we are using append users, which is our list, and is appending the user, which we will basically forwarding into our system. Let's see how this will work, but there's one problem that this is will be post method. Now go to our postman, see if we have any user. Now we have get request, we can see that our list is empty. Let's go with the post one from here to add one user, and the body raw and JSON I will add. I just copy paste it from here. ID, name, and email, which I'm basically posting towards our endpoint of this users. Go to the send. So it is saying internal server error. So this is also a hierarchy of FastAPI. So it is saying in here the function object has no attribute append. The problem is here is basically we have a variable called users, and again we have the endpoint called users. So it is basically confusing. The interpreter is confusing that where actually this is going to hit. So what I will do, I will change this one to all users, and I will use these all users here instead of that one, right? And again this one. So now I'm saving it, finish server process, server reloads, and now I will post it again and to see how it will work. Our user has been created. If I go and try to get the same from this end user, so now see we have one entry available for the users. So this is a very fast way of creating these APIs. I have created two APIs in front of you. Let's move forward towards the delete user, and this is also a very easy thing to. Before updating, I will go with the delete one because update can be a little bit complicated. Again, I will use the same code here. Instead of get now, what I will do, I will use delete method because the request which we receive will be deleted. And we have to know that which user we need to delete. So for that one, we are passing an extra keyword which will be user ID. And I will also change this name, which will be delete underscore user for the method, and it is taking one parameter which is user underscore ID. So which user we have to delete? First we need to go through from the loop we have. So for user in users, in all users, sorry, if user dot id equals user id, so what we're going to do, all underscore user dot remove this user, and we are returning the message which will be user has been deleted, else we have a message that user not found. All right, so all users, this is will be all users, right? Okay, now let's run this one. So first again I have to go with get, sorry, this one. We have no user available right now, so I will post to add one user. User has been created. Go back to check if it's been created or not. So yes, we can see one user. Now let's delete this user. I will add the ID which is 1 and use delete command instead of the post or get. So after sending this one, user not found. That is interesting because ID is 1 What we need to do, I know we have to just define this integer, otherwise it will take like a string. Right now server reloads again. I have to post this one to create one user. User has been created. Let's check. So we have one user now, and let's go to see if the ID is there or not. I will delete this one. The user has been deleted. And now if I go back to see get users, so see the users are empty. So now we can easily successfully created these three functions. Let's go with the update one. Again, what I will do, I will copy paste because I don't like typing too much. It will save some time. So now here, app.get, I will use app.put, and it is basically users that we are going to use these things. And here again, what we're going to update, we are going to update the users, which is in our case is here. We are basically also again needing one ID for that one, that which user we are going to update. So I will say user ID, and also here I will say user underscore ID, which will be integer. And we are also passing the variables, the attribute which is the updated value of the user, which again I will say user underscore object, and it's a class of user. It's a type of user basically. All right. So first thing, we have to find that if this user is available in our list or not. So for user in all users, right? And if user dot id equals user id, we found it. What we're going to do, we are going to actually update it. So I will say user underscore all user dot id equals, here whatever the id we have will be user. What we are going to do, we are going to add user dot id equals user id. If we are working with databases, we don't need these kind of things, but for here, for testing purposes, we do. And then user dot name equals user underscore object dot name, and user dot email equals user underscore object dot email. And then we can return from here the message that user has been updated. And again, if not found, then I will just copy this one from here and add it here. So our update method has been completed. So let's run this thing. So first of all, because our server runs, if I just send this one, users are empty. Let's pause and create one user. User has been created. Let's get to see if the user has been created or not. Yes, we can see the user. And now let's update this one. So instead of my name, I can add something else. James, I'll say Gmail, and I'm going to update this record with an ID 1 and send. The user has been updated. So let's see if it's updated or not by using get command and send. So you see user has been updated. So we have successfully created all those four major endpoints which are there for almost every need. For this user model, we have now create user, we have read user, we have update user, and we have delete user as well. So as you can see that how fast and how simple is that one. These are the benefits of using FastAPI. The first benefit, I can say that this is something which is like plain Python syntax. You see I'm using Python and there is nothing else. The second thing which is very important for this one, that we can also use without any extra effort. You can just make those calls asynchronous. Just add asynchronous here and it will be asynchronous method for all those we have here, right? So this is the power of Fast API. Moreover, another benefit of Fast API is basically it is returning all the messages in JSON format. While Flask and Django, I think they are returning the messages in HTML format. You have to put some extra effort to return those into JSON format. And also it has authentication built in, and also as you can see in the models we are using pydantic making sure the data is basically verified as well. I can give you a quick example for you here. So in get let's because our server reloads, so if I get, you will see there are no users in here, and I will try to add one user. So I'm just missing this email, which is necessary in our case. I'm trying to add a new user without email. If you send this one, so you see the details, the type missing, and it is telling you the field required and etc. The missing, these authentication are also available inside this one. A very useful utility of Fast API is as well. Let me show you. So in the Fast API, you have built-in Swagger available. So my API is running on this server. If I see docs, so you see these are all methods we have just created. I can see those in here: cat users, post, put, and etc. And also I can use those directly from here actually. So for example, if I go to run these users, try it out. So you see there's a command string, which is, if I execute this one, I can see all those things in our response body, response headers as well. So this is for the cat one. If I go to post and it is telling me these information we need, let's try this here. And I will add like one ID, James, and I will add that email and execute this one. So in the response body, you will see the user has been created. Now if I see if that user has been created or not, let's execute this one, and you see with the power of Swagger, you can try it out always. And this is where you can give these to your front-end developers so they can see what kind of information they have to pass when using these APIs. Also, there is another end point, which is redoc, which is something like that, which is also available inside the Fast API, which you can use further. So these are the utilities which makes FastAPI very popular. And in very short time of frame, you can create, you can play with your API endpoints, and you can give other ones by hosting those parameters to see that how these APIs actually are working. Like I said, authentication, you don't need to take care about a lot of authentication, authorization, etc. So the framework is basically coming up with those all things. So in the documentation, if you go further into the advanced topics, there are so much things to learn about these all APIs. I hope in a very small time frame, I will try my level best to explain these in front of you, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next session.